For the final time this season, NASCAR goes Superspeedway racing. That's right. We get you set for all the action with our Top Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series bets for Talladega. All this and more. It's the Backroad coming right at you.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. That's all this race is.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Backroad. It's In Between Media's NASCAR betting show. We're down to just a couple of races left in the NASCAR season for 2025. Elliot Hicks and Seth Woolcock here with you as we head to NASCAR's biggest and baddest beast, the Talladega Superspeedway, Seth.
Oh, jazzed up for it, Elliot. This is one of those tracks every single year that it feels a little different, especially this fall race. There's a lot on the line for playoffs for really all the series. So it's great to kind of culminate all that into one weekend here down in the great state of Alabama. So excited for that. Great time in the sports calendar as well. And really excited to chop it up with you and the entire IBT family tonight, man.
No doubt about it. A lot of pressure on everybody this weekend. The first time Talladega is in the round of 8. So a direct impact on the championship four in all three series. It's going to be wild. We'll start tonight's show, as we always do, looking back in the rear view at what was a wild weekend as well in Las Vegas. Talk about the news going on in the sport, break down the standings. Then we'll break down Talladega in the Horizon Forecast, give you some trends, give us our iFantasy race driver, Asterisk Mark driver of the week. There we go. And then the parking garage props, of course, best bets for the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series. We got all three rocking and rolling for each of the rest of the season. Like you said, shout out to everyone that we've got rocking and rolling with us. First off, special shout out to those in the IBT Racing family.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a great year over there. You get access to our full weekly NASCAR betting cards, entry into memorabilia giveaways. We're well overdue for one of those. We got to get one of those rolling. Exclusive weekly betting model access. This week, the model is certainly wild, as it always is on super speedways, and arguably the best part of it. I know the model is great. I know the stuff is great. I know telling our bets is great, but the conversation, I feel like, has been the best part, not only with all of us involved with the show, but for everyone that's hopped in and helped give us some gainers this year as well.
Dude, I mean, talk about some gainers. Our guy Tony over there in the betting family. This guy has a way with these multi-leg wagers, man. He is a parlay king, and I think he took one home for two plus grand last week. It was a 4-legger. I think he put $5 or $10 on it, and it was just a couple of group bets stacked on top of each other. So shout out Tony. Shout out. I also see our guy Trav checking in from the Discord as well. What's up, Trav? Great to see you. Trav had some great insight earlier this week when we were chatting. And Blaze Wolf, I think, also coming off a plus money week as well. So great to see you guys checking in from the Discord community over there. Been a great time chatting up with you. Appreciate the support there. Also, Nick checking in over here on the YouTube side saying, what up? What's up, Nick? Great to see you. And Stan, thinking a little bit like me, saying I threw a $50 free bet from ESPN on Cole Custer to win it all. I'm a big Cole Custer fan this weekend, Elliot.
Hey, sometimes you can throw your bonus bets on those wild ones and get a lot of money from them. Sometimes you can be like me. I still have a bonus bet from, I think it was Spring Darlington, riding on a Denny Hamlin title ticket. So that'll be a fun little sweat at Phoenix that I've already got locked in.
And we might have Marcus here in the chat as well, saying I predict Christopher Bell to win Talladega and the championship. Well, that sounds about right to me. So, Marcus, if that's you, let us know, buddy. I see you're going under a new screen name, so always tough to tell that out. And at least our community, we have normal screen names, Elliot. From over the Fantasy Pros community, we got some wild screen names that just throw me off. So I appreciate the straightforwardness of first name, last name, sometimes a little trickery name, but I just like it like that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Don't want to get hidden behind too many misnomers there. And the fun thing, too, even when the racing season is over, that Discord's not going to go silent. It also locks you into our IBT football family as well, which is going pretty well over there. I'll be able to be more locked into that come the beginning of November. Also, shout out to everyone listening on the audio version as well as on good old terrestrial radio, 101.5 FM down in Western Tennessee, talking West Tennessee 8 p.m. on Saturday nights we air over there. The links to all of this fun stuff we've been chatting about, including all our written content on the site, preview of the betting model, and some extra picks every Friday morning. You can see that all in the episode description. And even if, the very least you can do to support us, give it a like, give us a subscribe. If you enjoy what you're watching, we certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We've been on the cusp of 2,000 subscribers here on the YouTube. So hoping to continue to get there before the end of the NASCAR season, before the NFL playoffs start. So if you guys can help us any way you can, we really, really appreciate it. I mean, I know it sounds super trivial to say, like, give us a thumbs up and say those like YouTube-ish like things, but it really does help push it more out in the algorithm. So really, we really, really do appreciate that.
Yeah, the YouTube guys wouldn't say it if it didn't help. So it helps us too. All right, let's take a look back in the rear view and look at how everything went in Las Vegas.
Do it.
All right, so we had the Xfinity and the Cup Series racing in Sin City. The Xfinity Series saw Erik Almirola fight his way to a late race pass for victory, and it puts the JGR number 19 car into the Owners' Final Four. You see that separately in the Xfinity and Truck Series more, where the Owners' Championship and the Drivers' Championship are a little different. So Almirola could be somebody to bet on when we come to Phoenix as well. It was originally scheduled to be a Justin Bonsignore race, but Almirola is going to take that car the rest of the way. And we saw it in the springtime. He will do whatever it takes to win a race at Phoenix.
Dude, he will. He absolutely will. And shout out to Joe Gibbs Racing for continuing just like open a can of whoop butt, right? Like down there in the Xfinity Series. I feel like they just every single year bring it. Erik Almirola continues to deliver, and wish, and once again, I had him on my card. Last year, I felt like every time he was winning, we had him circled, Elliott. This year, not so much.
Yeah, we've missed out on a lot of coin on Almirola this year. Maybe I'll have to throw a sprinkle on him at Phoenix there. On the Cup side, Denny Hamlin, late race charge, takes away what really looked like Hendrick's day as Larson and Byron really dominated. But it is Denny Hamlin finally earning win number 60, locking himself into Phoenix in what was a wild finish that we'll talk about a little bit later. But in terms of Hamlin, good to see him finally get number 60, able to lock himself into the championship for, dare I say, it might be Denny Hamlin's year.
I mean, this is the time you have to lock yourself in if you want a real shot at beating these Penske guys, right? You want to be the first car in so you can start preparing for Phoenix right now. Denny Hamlin has a 2-week advantage. He now has Elliott up to 6 wins this season. That's his most wins in a while. I mean, he's been, right in that 2 to 3 range for really last 4 or so years, especially in the next gen era. So this is the most he's had in the next gen era since that 2020 season when he had 7. Harvick had a ton as well. And that was a gritty win. That was a gritty win. All the backlash he faced a couple weeks ago for trying to get the car to the finish with the power steering going out. And, I wasn't happy about it, right? I was riding that Kyle Larson outright, but it really felt like it was Larson, Hamlin. The end, Briscoe was there mixing it up on a couple less tires than everyone as well. But, I mean, just gritty and well done by this entire team, which, I think coming into the season, we all had question marks about just because of the crew chief swap.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it last year. We were at Dover at the end of April. Denny Hamlin at the time earned his 3rd win of the year, didn't win the rest of the year. And even the first couple races, I think it was Martinsville, he got his first win this year. So that was relatively early in the year, but definitely some whispers of maybe we've seen Denny Hamlin get his last win. He has certainly proved us wrong. And it worked on my betting card too. It's not the most money that I've ever won, but I have never hit more bets on a cup race and on a weekend than I did at Vegas. It worked out really well for me. It starts with that Denny Hamlin outright that I boosted to plus 687. Also had the Bell and Hamlin plus, both in the top 3 at plus 650. That JGR top 10 parlay that I broke down with the 11, 19, and the 20 hits at plus 179. I got plenty more to go through. I'll give you an opportunity to shout out some winning bets first.
Yeah, so I had a very limited card last week. It was one of those, wasn't on the show. I wanted to keep it tight. Didn't really like what we saw pre-practice and qualifying, if I'm being honest with you, Elliott. It was one of those, like, I really felt like you had to drink some juice. And I just had a nice little parlay out there on Kyle Larson top 10, parlayed with a Tyler Warren, King of Indy bet for his receiving total. Tyler Warren hit that easy. Larson hit that easy. Probably could have teased both those up a little bit and made even more coin off that. So hit that. hit the Alex Bowman top 10. That was something I like pre-flop as well. And then so close to getting that Kyle Larson outright ticket to the window as well.
Yeah, it almost felt like one of those days where either Byron or Larson was going to take it.
Yeah.
Larson with that Zach Brown band card just felt like some destiny, but not to be, as Denny Hamlin gets number 60. So I had all those Gibbs bets, worked out pretty well. I did also lock down the Larson top 5. And my absolute manic strategy of just throwing out a bunch of top 10 bets, it worked really well because I cashed top 10s on Briscoe, Reddick, Bowman, Keselowski, and Preece. With those Roush guys with a bit of a sweat at the end. Brad back and forth with Cindric on the last lap to nail down 10th. And Preece, I'll talk a little bit more about him later, but Ryan Preece plus 350 for a top 10 said that he may have had the best car that he's ever driven, came back from a late pit penalty to run up there in the top 10. So that cashed that bet for me. And matchups, pretty good day over there as well. Hit Logano over Chase Elliott at even money, Keselowski over Josh Berry plus 110, and then the Alex Bowman over Ross Chastain at plus 150. That one was pretty much hit from the very start as Chastain had to start out back and was never really able to recover.
Yeah, very, very much so. And, volume betting at its finest, once again, my friend, you did it. And, sometimes looking at your betting cards and seeing the overwhelming amount of bets, can throw me up like, oh my goodness. But you did it. You did a really nice job there. And I think being a heavy on cars like Alex Bowman, like you were, fading Ross Chastain, I know that was one of your big plays last week. That came through for you. And Ryan Preece, he was another guy who his intermediate stats just blew away everything. His overall career Las Vegas stats kind of always are going to pull him down in the model. But he did a really nice job. So that was great to see as well. So glad to hear it all came through to you, especially that plus 687 Denny Hamlin outright. That was a great number. I wanted to be on him last week, but anything under 6-1 felt a little bit too short for me.
Yeah, and that's why I used that boost. Shout out BetMGM for randomly throwing me some boosts. I forgot to look today. I might have had some more, but I didn't the other day. Anyway, those boosts are always great. We'll give the books their flowers in the impressions of the books. Let's take a look at how the standings shake out after the Vegas weekend. On the Cup side, of course, 2 left in the round of 8. That's the same in Xfinity and trucks, but still saying it just for transparency's sake. Denny Hamlin locked in championship 4. He's advanced to Phoenix no matter what happens. Kyle Larson plus 35 on the cut line. Christopher Bell is plus 20. Chase Briscoe plus 15. William Byron 15 below the cut line. Don't worry, we will talk about what happened with William Byron in a little bit. Chase Elliott is minus 23. Joey Logano minus 24. And Ryan Blaney, who we haven't mentioned yet, minus 31. Cuts down a tire or something happens to that 12 car. And his little bit of momentum that he had, maybe his little bit of points advantage he had, pretty much out the window. And now you have both of the Penske cars looking at all but a must-win situation, depending on Talladega Chaos to advance to Phoenix.
Ryan Blaney potentially looking at a must-win to advance heading to Martinsville next week. Tell me you haven't heard. Yeah, tell me you haven't heard that before. You know where I'm probably betting heavily next week down there at the paperclip. But this is shaking out very interesting, right? Like Larson has not been super dominant this season, but he's sitting in a power position right now. Bell, who I have a really nice, I think I have a 7-1 championship ticket on him. I'm loving that. Briscoe, I think we all probably should have got in back when he was sitting around 20-1, still in August. I think that would have been a smart play, but a lot can happen here because really any of these guys, I'm high on Chase Elliott. I'm high on Byron this week. We know Logano's track record, while he doesn't get the finishes here at Talladega and at Superspeedways lately, he was the best car in terms of average run position back in that spring race. And Ryan Blaney, 2 of his better tracks in Dega, in Martinsville coming up. So, people can say they don't like the playoffs and they want to go back to the old thing. I'm all right with it if it brings this type of excitement week in and week out for 10 weeks during the fall stretch here.
Yeah, and really every format, you have people tracking not just the playoffs, which are the actual championship format we're using, but also if you track the non-playoff standings, if we were just going full season, Byron and Larson would be tied right now. And there would be, I think, 6 guys within reach of the title. So that would be exciting. But then there's also the people who track the Winston Cup system, the old Latford system. That would be a good battle too. So I don't think any one system is going to give you a legitimate champion. You just got to play the cards you're dealt. That's what Logano's done so well. Blaney going to arguably his 2 best tracks, needing to win, works out pretty well. And like you said with Larson, Rod and I talked about it last week. It's a matter of this team, whether they're winning or not. You get the good finishes. You get the big stage points. You're able to put yourself in a position to go fight for a title, even when you're not at your best. That's what makes Kyle Larson such a strong driver.
Oh, certainly. And a little bit of discourse here in the chat saying Stan is saying he doesn't like Talladega in the round of 8. Horrible, diabolical idea. And I understand. I completely understand. It is a type of racing that you have to get good at in the Cup Series, but it does feel a bit random at times. So I understand. I at least feel a little bit better with Talladega and not like Daytona, which really feels like you're kind of drawing hats out of a name, if you would. And then Trav saying he lives for the chaos. So very funny. And then TK saying Denny tends to win again. One up SVG. So we need another SVG win so Denny can win one more. So a little trend there from our guy TK Elliott.
Dude, I'm not ruling it out. SVG's run better on the ovals. He was legitimately running top 10 about half of that race and then just gets caught up in one of those late accidents when he was on 2 tires. And Talladega, anybody can win. Part of my bets this week, as I did in spring Talladega, I'll be rolling with the hat picks for an outright top 5 and top 10 bet when we get into the bets. So that 88 is in there. I may well have coin on him at the end of the night. As we look at the Xfinity standings now, 2 in the round of 8 as well. So when we look at these numbers, keep in mind when you're watching that plus 57 on the cut line will lock you into Phoenix after Talladega. That's something that could come into play. Connor Zilic is plus 82. So Zilic basically just needs to not crash, earn a couple stage points. He can lock himself into Phoenix without a victory and not even have to worry about Martinsville. Justin Allgaier is pretty close to that as well. He's plus 44 to the cut line. Both of the JRM cars, win or not, have built up enough of a buffer there that they should be all right, but Talladega is chaotic. And my argument to stand there, win at Vegas, you don't have to worry about Talladega, and don't crash at Talladega, and you don't have to worry about it. But no, I do understand the point.
Yeah.
Jesse Love is plus 20. Really good race for him at Vegas. Sam Mayer plus 8. Brandon Jones minus 8. Not as good as I thought he was going to run. Missed out on a couple of Jones bets. Sheldon Creed minus 21. Carson Kvapil minus 22. Sammy Smith minus 24. For the latter 3, especially because you could very well have 2 guys locked in on points into Martinsville, Creed, Kvapil, and Smith basically a must win. But Talladega is your place to do it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think the tricky thing is you also have Jesse Love here in an RCR car that always unloads quick at a super speedway. So you can factor, as long as nothing happens to Jesse Love in stage 1 or 2, to potentially grab 9 stage points, those first 2 stages here this weekend, be in a position to win. So Jesse Love, I have an 11-1. I'm sitting on. I think you have a 7-1 that you're sitting on him for the championship future. So feeling really good about those tickets. But yeah, Creed, Kvapil, Sammy Smith, all in pretty much must-win scenarios here. And it's really tough for someone like Kvapil and Creed who have yet to find that first Xfinity Series career victory.
And even for Mayer and Jones, plus 8 and minus 8, depending on how Talladega goes, you could very well see going into Martinsville, Zilic clinched. Allgaier either clinched or plus 55, and you could see Love plus 45. So that basically makes it a must-win for just about anybody below the cut line, or really tight battle with those 2 guys at the paperclip.
Well, and Jones and Mayer, 2 of the better racers at Martinsville, right? I know, those are 2 guys that I would definitely count in. Sammy Smith as well. He has been worldly fast at Martinsville. So I think, honestly, again, it's shaken out to be a really interesting last couple of weeks, and I'm here for it all, man.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. And this time, at least Brandon Jones won't have Ty Gibbs in the field.
Out
of the way, though. Almirola could race the same way, though.
Yeah, never count out old Uncle Erik. He likes to get a little wily down there in the Ville.
And then, of course, the trucks were off at Vegas, but their playoff standings are ridiculous, too. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Heim is advanced, and I believe the other 7 drivers are all within like 12 points of each other. So it's going to be absolutely ridiculous tomorrow afternoon. Before we break down Talladega, we'll talk about the news of the week. This may be not the biggest news, but the most fantasy-relevant news and betting-relevant news for 2026. Jim Pohlman is going to step up from Junior Motorsports and Justin Allgaier to crew chief over at Richard Childress Racing for Kyle Busch in 2026. Pohlman has been over there the last couple of years. Of course, finally gets Allgaier through to win the championship last season. A guy who's really put in the work and a guy who I feel like will really gel well with Kyle Busch, almost the same way as Allgaier, a veteran, still looking to really break through, really looking to push back, and it worked. He's gotten a whole boatload of wins the last couple of years, gets the title done. Kyle Busch needs that same sort of revival. I don't think anybody can doubt that.
I love this move. I love Jim Pohlman. I love everything he's done there at JRM the last few seasons. And now he's coming over here to a place that, like, let's face it, Elliot, Kyle Busch needs all the help he can get. Winless, likely for 2 years in a row. out of the playoffs for 2 years in a row. And like, aside from here and there popping up in speed, RCR just doesn't have speed every week. Like Richmond, they're going to be fast for whatever reason. Coda, we saw Kyle. We're like, oh my gosh, Kyle Busch is going to be a road course ringer this year. No, it was just Coda. You had a rocket that day. So it's really kind of hard to figure out what they need to do to find more speed in these cars. I think Pohlman, though, is a guy who can help Kyle Busch become a threat more than just once or twice a year and at super speedways.
Definitely a good chance for him, and it'll be something to watch all next year.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Busch, like we said, we're getting to a second full straight year without a win. Definitely needed some sort of change there. We already talked about his crew chief, Randall Burnett, going to Connor Zilic. Pohlman coming in here, really good move. In terms of some silly season moves, Justin Haley out at Spire Motorsports in 2026, team mutually parting ways. And for Haley, it's a heck of a downfall. Going from, you've got Rodney Childers as your crew chief. The biggest rumor in the garage is you're lined up for a Hendrick Motorsports seat. Yeah. Rodney leads 9 races into the year. Hendrick poaches your pit crew, and now you're out of the seat. He has been the least impressive driver over there. But with a guy like Ryan Sparks, who's been in charge of that team and Spire, Corey LaJoie didn't run super well with him, and neither did Justin Haley, and now going to be out of that ride for next year.
It's sad, right? Like it's sad. I think we all had a lot of hopes, especially last year when we saw, I think at least for my seat, it was like the first ever NASCAR trade we saw, right? So everyone was really excited. Justin Haley, what can he do this season? Well, he's 31st in points. He only has 2 top 10s. Like, it just hasn't been great. And honestly, regressed a little bit, Elliott, compared to what he was doing last year with Rick Ware Racing, which is surprising just considering that Spire's had a ton of speed this year, right? Like he had 3 total top 10s last year. His average finish was a little bit worse, but considering the equipment, it felt like he was stepping up his game. And this year, when we've seen the speed out of Carson Ho so far, we've seen Michael McDowell at least compete for a few wins. Chicago comes to mind, Texas earlier in the season. Mm-hmm. Where's Justin Haley's defining race spin? I haven't seen it yet so far this season, and he's going to a place in Talladega where anything can happen. And I put it on the thumbnail. This is like his last shot, right? This is his last shot to cash those long shot tickets for us. And regardless of what happens to Haley, I will tell you, if he ends back up in the Xfinity Series, even if it's with Kaulig next year, he will be someone I'm betting early and often throughout the 2026 campaign.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch what happens to Haley. Of course, we'll cover it whenever it's announced, whether it be in the winter or during the season. Nobody announced for this car yet. We do know Daniel Suarez could be an option, has not announced plans, would bring money to this team, could be a very natural fit. But a lot of things can shake out in the offseason, especially with a certain December trial that could really affect a lot of things in the Cup Series. You mentioned Kaulig. They're in the news for a lot of different reasons. So I just kind of have a general Kaulig banner. We'll start, though, with Justin Haley potentially being an option. He is not an option for a Kaulig truck, as Chris Rice said on Sirius XM Radio. He's quote, though, he says, if we can find a spot for Justin, we definitely will do that. But they've made their bet in the truck series. They also announced Brendan Queen, Butterbean, will drive one of those trucks full-time next year. Definitely exciting for Butterbean to go full-time. And for Haley, we don't know if Kaulig is going to have an Xfinity program. It's nice to know that you have people who will give you a shot, but if the seat isn't open, you could be left without a seat in the beautiful game of musical chairs that is NASCAR silly season.
Yeah, absolutely could. And, shout out to Butterbean, man. He's someone who seems like a very authentic individual. I've loved everything I've heard from him from a media perspective. And I love what he does on the track, right? I mean, this is a kid who he's shown it in Xfinity. He's shown it when he's got opportunities in the truck series as well to go out there and run top 5, go out there and run top 10. I've been always impressed with this kid. I think it's a great landing spot. And keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling because there's a couple other people, one with the last name McFarland, that I think we're all potentially waiting to land here with Dodge and link up with Butterbean.
Yeah, I mean, they're rumored to run as many as 5 trucks. I'm assuming you're going to have at least one pay driver in there. But it is nice that because Ram is funding a lot of this, you can put a guy with talent in there like Brendan Queen. He's also going to be running the rest of the Xfinity season in that number 11 for Kaulig. Nice. So exciting to watch. Of course, your ARCA champion with Pinnacle this year certainly has earned his seat moving up the ladder here. Kaulig, though, on the Cup side, and if they're on the Xfinity side, going to be a little different. They've had an alliance with Richard Childress Racing the last few years. That reportedly is ending after this year. Kaulig going to be on their own. And we know with these alliances, sometimes they can hold you back, but sometimes they definitely can help you. And it'll be interesting to see Kaulig going off on their own with their own notebook starting next season on the Cup side.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good thing. Like, how much is that alliance really doing for him? Like, I get they have to build their own notebook now, and it might take a couple years. Like, do you think this is the type of thing, Elliot, where it is like a legacy step back for the first year, where they're not getting that technical support and we're just fading the crap out of them to start next season? Because that's how it pretty much was for legacy for what, a year or two.
Yeah, it's a major risk. It at least helps that they probably won't receive any more or less Chevrolet support. They already were toward the bottom of the barrel there, and naturally you're getting in on the ground floor with Ram on the truck side. This is kind of the first step of, hey, we are setting ourselves up to be either the 1A or the 1B team.
Long game.
Yeah, they're playing the long game for when Ram can be able to get back to Cup to be one of the front runners over there. So it could be risky next year. I mean, we assume Allmendinger and Ty Dillon will be back, and they're both talented drivers in their own right. Ty Dillon is not really a betting threat. Allmendinger maybe on the road courses. Mm-hmm. Definitely a big risk of some major fades on these guys, though, especially early in the year.
Kind of reminds me what a particular college football program is doing right now. They're hitting that reset button. They're playing the long game. It's going to hurt for a little bit. I've said that a few times, for the Penn State James Franklin situation, Elliot. And it's one of those things, like, you're hoping for brighter days ahead. You're hoping this can get you over the hump. And I think Kaulig's in a very, very similar situation. I just appreciate that they are trying things. They are, at least putting not only the financial backing with their team, but also trying to do things a little bit differently than they have before, shake things up.
Yeah, James Franklin out at Penn State. Kurt Signetti will not be coming to town, though.
No. Oh, I thought he was coming for us, buddy.
Didn't work out over there. All right, now let's break down the William Byron, Ty Dillon situation, because it did have a direct effect on Kaulig. So in case you missed it, William Byron running second had just gotten passed by Kyle Larson. Ty Dillon having a terrible day, said the car was broken. They're coming to pit road outside of the pit cycle. Ty Dillon slows up, comes down to pit road. William Byron's spotter apparently has no idea. Ty Dillon's spotter thinks that he told him, and they collide and crash. Ruins William Byron's day. Ty Dillon's car put out of his misery a little bit, as he said. And so what happened? Joe White, the spotter of the number 10 car, quote from him this morning: got to Talladega, parked the bus, got fired, in an Uber to the airport to go home for the weekend. To be clear, it was determined that I would not be spotting for Ty next year, but that I would still be with Kaulig in some fashion, but not now. He talked to Jordan Bianchi, said that as soon as he knew they were pitting and they were near Byron, he wanted to seek out Brandon McReynolds, the spotter of the number 24. Or not Brandon McReynolds, Brandon Lyons. Went to seek him out. And apparently mouthed, hey, we're pitting to him. Didn't quite get close enough to him to, go up right in his ear. Hey, this is what we're doing. Apparently the message did not get through, though. Ruins William Byron's day, puts him well behind the 8 ball in what was going to be a great day for him, and cost Joe White his job, unfortunately. A wild situation for sure. We even saw a close call where Micah McDowell and Shane Van Gisbergen almost collided there. Definitely a tough pit road entry there. Some really close calls, and unfortunately this one that tore apart a couple of cars.
Yeah, a lot of mixed signals going out there on the internet from, what Rice has been saying and then the actions. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was a, Rick Hendrick or Jeff Gordon who got pretty irate about this, and we had some Chevy pressure coming, right? Because it was a great day for William Byron. It's one of the fastest cars we've seen him have all season. He could have potentially won that race, honestly.
He had just gotten passed for the lead only because he made a mistake in the corner. He was the best car in the track at the time.
Yeah. So I get the move. I get that someone like my thing is if you don't, and I felt, said the same thing with James Franklin. Like, if you don't do your job to a high level, you deserve to be fired each and every single time. I don't know if he didn't do his job, though. That's kind of it feels like it's still a little bit muddy in the water. Somebody didn't do their job, whether it's Ty Dillon or whether it is the spotter here, but you do feel for him, right? And he has a family. He has, I'm sure, kids that he's trying to put through school. So tough scene out there. And, you just hope everyone can continue to get better from it. Yeah, the Chevrolet pressure wouldn't surprise me. And yeah, just a little miscommunication. Joe White thought that he told Byron spotter that he thought the message went through, but it didn't go through, and unfortunately killed Byron's day. One more silly season note. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Matt DiBenedetto will not finish the season in the ride that he started in. He's out of the Viking Motorsports number 99. Connor Mosack will drive the final 3 races, including this number 99 this weekend at Talladega. For Matt D, we know that to an extent it's a funding issue. Obviously, he doesn't bring a lot of his own money to the table. Mm-hmm. This was a partnership that seemed to be going well.
it's a lot different than what we had, in the Cup side or even in the truck side, where things were kind of bubbling, maybe not going well. Maybe he was becoming an irritating, factor to it, and he's kicked out. I didn't see this here, but it just shows that Matt DiBenedetto, there's some sort of disconnect between him and the ability to have a full-time racing career.
I don't understand how we get 30 races into the season and then this move happens, right? Like, you would like to see someone like Matty D just have a full season. Last year, only 28 races here with Viking because he got in late, right? And it's one of those situations, like, kind of reminds me of AM racing. Like, is this a Matty D issue? Is he just not performing, or is this just absolutely dog crap equipment? Like, I think we'll learn a little bit with Mosak at least, because Connor Mosak can drive. Like there's no doubt about it. We've seen what he can do, especially in a JRM car in the Xfinity series. He is a heck of a wheelman. So I hate to see this for Matty D, especially, it's not that long ago, Elliot. Like, you don't have to go back very far. 2023, where Matty D, 12 top 10s, 2 top 5s, all in the standings, had a win. This is a big bummer for a guy, Matt D, who I think is a fan favorite, but there does seem like there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, and I don't know if it's the attitude, I don't know if it's the work ethic, but whatever it is a shame, because he was certainly a fan favorite in the Cup Series for quite some time.
Yeah, it really is a heck of a downfall, going from racing with the Wood brothers, nearly winning a Bristol race with Levine family racing, and TK mentioning it's purely the money. It's just that simple. There are a lot of guys that lose their rides because they don't have money. They haven't gotten kicked out near the end of a season on multiple occasions, multiple teams, multiple series, especially to throw him out at a place where he's won before. Talladega may be his best track. I mean, short of Bristol, but was nearly won in the Cup Series in 2020. Was able to win a truck race a couple of years ago. To throw him out at Talladega, I mean, I would feel better with Mosak if they were heading to the Roval to really learn about their team. This is a team, this is their first year going it on their own. They were a satellite team of Ryan Sieg's last year. So it is definitely part of that. Hey, we want to learn what we have, but I don't know what Connor Mosak is going to teach you. In terms of Mosak hopping in, I think it's a money thing. It'll be interesting to see, though, if Matt DiBenedetto can nail down a ride anywhere in any of the 3 series next year, because I feel like he's running out of chances. And in terms of this team, I think it will be an AM type of situation where you see who you can bring in here, see if he can run a little better next year, because it was not the season either of them wanted. They were really never a playoff contender. I don't remember them ever really being in contention for a win.
One top 10 this season. It just wasn't there, man. And yeah, this was a place, like, especially with Xfinity top 10s, I was actually looking Matty D's way before this news to drop. So yeah, it's terrible timing for him. And hopefully he can get back up on his feet, because I've always enjoyed his racecraft. And I think he's a veteran guy. I think he's a responsible driver when he gets behind the wheel. What happens outside the car, I'm not sure, but he's not a guy who is a dirty driver by any means, at least what we've seen in the Xfinity years and Truck and Cup.
It'd be interesting to follow for sure. So neither Matt DiBenedetto nor Joe White will be at Talladega, but for all the rest of the series, it's going to be heading there. Let's break down the weekend in the Horizon Forecast.
Let's fire it up.
Hey, Michael, it was only 20% chance of rain. I think we got all 20.
So normally in this little graphic part, I like to throw in an extra fun paint scheme that someone else is running. Brandt this year has been a lot of fun, an agricultural company, not just running the corn car, but all different kinds of regional agriculture. Clip that one. It includes pumpkins this week, getting close to Halloween. So that's certainly fun on that number 7. On the Cup side, 40 entries this week. Austin Hill in the 33, Anthony Alfredo in the 62 for Beard. Casey Mears running the rest of the year in the 66 for Garage 66. And our guy BJ McLeod back in the number 78, seeing what he can do this weekend. Xfinity side, 38 cars there, as I mentioned. Brendan Queen running the rest of the year in the Kaulig number 11. Eric Almirola, I believe, running the rest of the year in the 19. Even if Martinsville was a Bonsignor race at this point, I don't know that they're still going to give it to him. We'll find out next week. Jordan Anderson in his own number 32. Restrictor plate guy or super speedway type of guy. A couple of runner-ups in the Truck Series at Daytona. Could be interesting to watch. Josh Williams in the Alpha Prime 45, a guy who normally I wouldn't mention, but Talladega, Alpha Prime, Josh Williams having some vibes there. Could be worth a look. On the truck side, 36 trucks for tomorrow afternoon's race. JJ Yaley, his best shot, his best equipment he's been in quite some time. He'll be in the Spire number 7 truck. Chris Wright in the number 16 again this week, so bet the over on the cautions. Frankie Muniz returning from his wrist injury in the Rearview number 33. Parker Kligerman back in the Henderson number 75 truck, looking for a little bit of revenge there. In terms of our schedule, an important note for broadcasting, it'll be easier than it's been in a long time to go out and watch the races. All 3 series are on over-the-air broadcast television for only the second time in NASCAR history and the first time since July of 2000. For the trucks, they're qualifying, no practice this week. Qualifying at 12:30 tomorrow, Fox Sports 2, and then at 4:23 they're on Big Fox. The Love's RV stop 2:25, stage lengths there 20, 20, and 45. Saturday, Xfinity qualifying 11:30, Cup qualifying 1:30, and then at 4:10 the green flag for the United Rentals 250 on the CW, 25, 25, 44, your stage lengths there. 2:28 p.m. on Sunday, the green flag for the YellaWood 500. NBC's taking the rest of the way here. 60, 60, and 68, the stage lengths there. Stage racing at the super speedways has definitely been a point of contention because it feels like it's a whole fuel saving sort of thing, especially on the Cup side. And then we only really get good racing in that last stage and maybe at the end of stages. Definitely something to watch as we're breaking down, especially if you have stage win bets or that sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of that really, really difficult, right? It makes and we've been victim to betting Austin Cindric for the wrong stage win, or betting someone who goes out and hey, I'm going to take a little more gas on pit road and come out a little bit later, and then it kind of screws you. It hurts for fantasy if you're playing stage points in those types of leagues as well. So it is difficult. I will say, like, the super speedway racing has been better as of late for whatever reason, I think. But yeah, I don't know what the solution is. I think there are, people who are above my pay grade who can figure that out. But regardless, it's still hard to complain about Talladega going down to, you can, complain about the timing of it in the season. I think that is justified, though.
Yeah, and I feel like because it's in the round of 8, I'm assuming a lot of those guys are going to be running near the front.
Yeah,
you're going to see some more chaos, especially for those stage points and late in the race than you would if it was still around a 12 race, or especially than you would in the springtime. I think it'll be racing more like that summer Daytona race, which is the last shot for a lot of guys to get wins. Thankfully, the comp's pretty easy this week. Talladega, 2.66 mile super speedway, just a little bit bigger than the 2.5 mile Daytona, and races similarly to Atlanta Echo Park Speedway since the reconfiguration. Daytona a primary, Atlanta a secondary. They're both in the model this week.
Yeah, and the way we went about it this week, which I thought was pretty bright from our friend Ryan over there at iFantasyRace.com, is he had a separate chart for big super speedway finishes. So I weighed together, of course, I weighed, all next gen finishes at this track of Talladega, but then I also weighed 2024 finishes for Daytona and Talladega. That was one grouping that we took for data, and then another set of that data was just Atlanta finishes, because it really does feel a bit different now. It feels like I've kind of really started to hone in on that over the last few years, Elliot. It's that, like, while Atlanta is a super speedway, it is definitely more of a handling super speedway than a place like Talladega and a place like Daytona. Although it's very interesting because at the same time, Daytona, Atlanta, both thinner, right? Not as many places to go, a little more chaos in a way. Talladega, you got those long straightaways, you got those big sides, so you can go 3-4 wide with relative ease compared to Daytona and Hotlanta.
Yeah, Daytona, Atlanta definitely drive a little more similar. Daytona, Talladega, more similar than Talladega, Atlanta, but Talladega is still definitely its own kind of beast here. As we look at the trends for the week now, in qualifying, average starting position over a career, Austin Cindric is the top at 9.7. You have Chase Elliott around 11.3, Ryan Blaney 11.9, Ty Gibbs 12.5. Surprised to see him as high as that. Keselowski and Bell both were even at a 12.727 career average start here. Active pole winners, there are quite a few. Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott have done it twice. Zane Smith, who is one of 7 first-time pole winners at Talladega, he won the pole in the spring. Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., all with a pole each. Hendrick leads with 13 poles all time, but none since 2019, not counting the metric set lineup. So unlike what we saw for quite a while in the Daytona 500, Hendrick winning a pole here does not seem extraordinarily likely.
No, it doesn't. They're the type of program that I expect not to necessarily unload fast. I mean, I think they'll still be top 10, top 15 cars off the deck, but when just kind of looking back at those trends, I think there are other organizations that I expect to get a pole, specifically in that Ford camp, I think, Elliot.
Something that definitely surprised me when I was looking at where the race winners come from They still come from the pole 13% of the time, and from the front row 31.25% of the time. That's pretty much on board with the rest of the tracks, I feel like. Half of your winners coming from starting in the top 5, 67.86% from the top 10. We always think Talladega's got a lot more variance, but generally it seems like one of those top 10 starters 2/3 of the time is surviving to the end of the race and claiming that checkered flag.
Less variance than I think some of these other super speedways. I absolutely do believe that. That's why, like, if you're putting one in the round of 8, I'm glad at least it's Dega.
Yeah, it would certainly be a lot more chaotic with Daytona or Atlanta.
Oh, could you imagine Daytona here? Oh my goodness.
Even Atlanta, with how nuts that race ended up being in the summer, where you had a third of the field and everybody who had a win was taken out in the first third of the race. So that really made for some crazy racing there. Those guys were still looking for those wins to advance to the playoffs. Speaking of wins, your active race winners at Talladega, Brad Keselowski's done it 6 times, which I think is second most with Dale Jr., I believe. Up there, of course, just behind Dale Earnhardt. Blaney and Logano have won here 3 times. Busch, Stenhouse, Elliott, and Hamlin twice. Cindric, Reddick, Chastain, and Wallace, all with a win here. 12 first-time winners at this track, most recent. Bubba Wallace in the fall of 2021. Helped a little bit by some rain, but he still was running out front and really earned that one. Definitely a place where you can see first-time winners, just as Daytona and Atlanta are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking at the all-time winners, Hendrick, 14 wins here is the most. RCR, 13, but 9 of those were from Dale Earnhardt, so thanks to Dale. His last win coming 25 years ago in this race. Pretty wild. Penske's won it 12 times, and then below there, pretty big gap. Only 5 wins apiece here for JGR, RFK, and the Wood Brothers. Wood Brothers dating back to David Pearson in the 80s. Top 5 in average finish, Spire and Elliott, Stenhouse, Gilliland, and Keselowski. 19 overtime races at Talladega, including in the fall of 24 and the spring of 23. In terms of the playoff guys and how things work in the playoffs, 4 of the 7 active Talladega playoff race winners, so that's winning in the fall race, are playoff contenders this year. Chase Elliott won this race in 2022, Denny Hamlin in 2020, Ryan Blaney in 19 and 23, and Joey Logano dating back to 15 and 16. 15, he got lucky. 16, he earned it. They should have waited a half a second to push that caution button till a certain silver and green Diet Mountain Dew car got in front. Anyway, during the playoff era, of course, 2004 to the present, only once has the winner of the Talladega playoff race gone on to win the title in the same season, Ryan Blaney in 2023. It's happened 5 times with the winner of the first race in the round of 8, so it looks better for Denny Hamlin than whoever can take this one. Twice the Talladega playoff race winner has finished runner-up in the standings, though. Jeff Gordon 07 and Joey Logano in 16. 7 times a non-playoff driver has won the NASCAR Cup Series playoff race at Talladega. 05, 06, 09, 11, 13, 21, and 24. So as our bets will show you in a few minutes, definitely a big chance of someone outside of this round of 8 claiming a victory.
So you're saying there's a chance. Let's go.
There's a good chance. I'm saying there's a good chance. And that would be one of the drivers in our little double-barreled iFantasyRace.com asterisk mark driver of the week this week.
Yeah, I'm so glad these are the drivers we're featuring here. Joey Logano and Ryan Preece. Preece originally finished P2 and Logano finished P5, but were disqualified post-race in the spring. In the race, Preece earned the best driver rating, second best average running position as well, 11.6. Logano, meanwhile, best average running position. We pointed that out earlier in the show. And also led the second most laps with 24, second best driver rating on the day. This is a trend we've seen with Logano a lot, whether it's by hook, by crook. This guy is out there leading laps consistently at Superspeedways. He's putting himself in the top 5, in the top 10 of average running position, and just can't walk away with it. When we came here to some of our other races like Daytona and Atlanta, we were throwing in their actual finish where they crossed the line. Because of how much data we had to go off of where they were in the running order technically. So Logano and Preece, 2 guys I think who should be a little bit higher up in the projections this week, Elliot, than they actually are.
Yeah, they both are going to be contenders. And spoiler alert, they're both on our betting cards this week. Let's go ahead and crack open the bets in the parking garage props. I'd like to shout out BetRivers this week, as I believe Trav did in the Discord. Apologies if it wasn't Trav, whoever it was in there. Really good placement numbers this week on BetRivers, and one that I have not only quite a bit on in the show, but quite a bit on in my pretty stacked card that is best described as schizophrenic that you can see in the Discord if you so wish.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. And that was Trav. So shout out Trav for that, because a couple quick notes there on BetRivers, our friends over in Pittsburgh, and what they're doing. One, they're not showing up on the Action Network big board anymore because they've moved their UI around. And also, there's a little bit of a drop down there. I was only thinking the last few weeks they are running out top threes, but it's actually a drop down now that you have to go to the top 5, the top 10. So that was news to me. So I appreciate Trav pointing that out. And I appreciate BetRivers, because honestly, Elliot, there was really little straight bet action I was going to have in the placement prop market before I saw those. I mean, we're talking $1 difference on prices. I mean, we're talking some drivers that are minus 220 and over on BetRivers are minus 120. So why we have to continue to have multiple outs here as efficient NASCAR gamblers, guys, because those pennies in this point, in this case, dollars, really do add up over time.
Yeah, I mean, I should have taken a picture of my note sheet for the week before I tossed it. I basically wrote out, I looked at the Action Network for a few of those. I did figure that out a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I didn't realize that wasn't more common knowledge. Maybe that's why the top 10 numbers are so good, because they haven't been getting action.
Honestly, I thought the same thing.
But no, so Action Network's the first place that I start. And then I was just like, who are the drivers in the entry list that I think might have a shot? Went through, looked at top 3s, top 5s, top 10s, went through all the books that I have. You got to get that best number, because it really does make a difference.
You do.
Normally Bet365 is, and Bet365 still getting a lot of my bets this week. But yeah, we'll shout out the books more in the rank the books at the end of the year. We don't want to give them too many flowers, because we're still trying to beat the books. Well, for now, at least, we can give them their flowers in the off season. I feel like this is an easy phrase where I'm always like, well, there's one place to start, because there a lot of times there has been one outright that really jumps out.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite outright in quite a while, at least as best as it can go at Talladega. Ryan Blaney, we've been talking about him, 11-1 over on Bet365. He's the Superspeedway king, and he needs to win. That's about all I have to say, but I'll give you stats anyway. He's still on top. He showed it in the August race at Daytona. It was nowhere really to factor in. He's like, well, I'll push the 41. Why not? Able to pick the right line, move up to the front, and not freak out like Custer did, moving way down to the bottom, killing your run. Goes out and takes the win there. That is one of 5 Superspeedway wins that Blaney has. And it's not just Daytona. He's won 3 times at Talladega and 2 times in this fall race, like I mentioned. Between Daytona and Talladega, 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s. Having that consistency, not being involved in the big one every single time, still very important here. Before this summer's being involved in that big crash we were talking about in Atlanta, he had been top 9 in 6 straight Atlanta races on the Superspeedways.
Wow.
655 laps led for his career on Superspeedways. He only needs to lead the last one this week to get him to Phoenix. His knack for winning in the round of 8 with his back against the wall, it's shown up the last 2 years at Martinsville. As tough as Martinsville is to drive and as grueling as that has been for him, maybe he'll just get it out of the way a week earlier this year at Talladega.
Yeah, I would hope so for Ryan Blaney's playoff sakes. I just don't know, man, because like you look at the next gen average finishes, they're fine here for Talladega. But then it's just like some of it's been asterisk mark stuff, right? The Talladega wreck, you shouted that out. The Atlanta race as well earlier this season, you shouted that out too, I think. And like he's had some bad beats here. And like honestly, I think what deterred me from Ryan Blaney more than anything is his big super speedway average finish since 2024. It's not good, folks. Like it's really not good. Ryan Blaney is not getting you to the window if you've been betting on him at Talladega or at Daytona most of the times as well. So I think that's really was kind of the big deterrent for me, Elliot. He's pretty far buried down in there, 11th worst. I mean, he does have that win earlier this season at Daytona, so that's great. He also had a good run in the 500 this year as well. But besides that, I mean, we're talking 29th, 30th, 37th, 39th, 20th. So he'll be out front. Can he just avoid some of the chaos that, for whatever reason, even when he's out front, seems to find it?
Yeah, and like I said, going to be more chaotic than ever because even if Blaney's up front, I'm sure Logano will be there. I'm sure your Gibbs cars will be there. I'm sure your Hendrick cars will be there. And it'll be certainly pretty wild coming down to the end of the race. These weeks, definitely big weeks to go for longer odds. I know an 11-1 on Blaney is great, but betting the favorites can be a fool's errand on the super speedways. Between the two of us, we've got 3 pretty long shot outrights. Let's go ahead and start with your 45-1 for the week.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, like I was looking around at some of the shorter odds. I'm very heavy on Hendrick this week. We'll talk about them. But, you look back and it's really been like there's not trends in the next gen era for what team is winning more times or not. So I'm like, all right, well, let's take an approach here that let's just find some value out there. And I think Erik Jones 45-1 is some value. I'm going 0.4 of a unit. So really a sprinkle for me more than anything. And like you're telling me that I can get a guy who is ranked 9th in our projection this week at 45-1. Yeah, I'll bite on that. Like Erik Jones is 5th in the next gen finishes here at Talladega, 14.6, top 6 also, Elliott, in 4 of 7 races. You factor in Daytona where he is 6th in average finish at big super speedways since 2024, 15.4. I really like this number, man. He looked good. It should have won the duels earlier this year. Also has an average finish of 7.0 at Daytona this season. So Erik Jones, pretty much everything other than, his most recent run at Talladega, which was, pretty mediocre, I'd say by anything. Everything is pointing to an Erik Jones breakout performance here. And I think 45-1 is a very, very generous number. So give me a little Erik Jones to bounce back from a pretty poor run here at Talladega in the spring, but he's been hot on the super speedways. He's looked pretty decent all season long as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Jones, an underrated super speedway racer overall. Remember, I believe it was his first career win came in that summer Daytona race 2018.
Yep.
But a guy who knows how to get it done, like you said, should have won the duels. We've given Legacy a lot of flowers this year. It's kind of cooled off as the playoffs have started.
It has.
More playoff guys, but they still do deserve some flowers. Both Jones and JHN have run pretty well in the super speedways at times, and certainly at a 45-1, a direction that I don't hate going in at all.
Elliott, you also have a long shot outright play, a guy who very much is on his last stand here.
Yeah, we're going to pivot back to Justin Haley at a 60-1 over on Caesars. I also have his top 10 at plus 250. We saw it with Harrison Burton last year. We knew he was out of a cup ride. Doesn't matter. Goes wins Daytona. Justin Haley definitely can get it done here. Where am I at here? His only top 5 of 2025 came at Daytona in August. 6th and 7th, for the kids, your little 6-7 joke, whatever that means. 6th and 7th, the last 2 fall Talladega races, one with Spire, one with Kaulig. 4 top 12s at Atlanta since the reconfiguration. Like I mentioned, Harrison Burton pulled off the magic. Justin Haley, the super speedway king, back when he was with Kaulig and Xfinity, taking a couple of wins here. I believe he swept the Talladega races in, it was either 2019 or 2020. Didn't take that down. But a guy who can get it done and a guy who now has literally everything to race for. Who knows where he's going to end up? He can end up in a lot better place by claiming his first, or it would be his second Cup Series win. Yeah. Almost had a little Freudian slip here, but I remember that 2019 rain-shortened, lightning-shortened Daytona race where he got the Spire 77 to win. But first full race win probably. Doesn't look bad at a 60-1 for this Gainbridge 7.
Sometimes that Justin Haley win feels like a decade ago, and then other times it feels like it was just yesterday. It's kind of a fun paradox, especially Elliott, just given you and I's time in life. We were just getting ready to graduate college not so long after that. But Justin Haley here, man, like look, it's been solid at Talladega. Right now he is 11th in the Talladega next gen average finishes, so I like that a lot. I love what he did at Daytona in the fall as well this year. He looked great, top 7 in average running position. We just need some of those late race mistakes to get cleaned up for him to have a shot here. And I think he does have a shot, honestly. So at 60-1, this is another number I was really keening on. If I didn't take my other long shot, Justin Haley would have probably been a way I look here, especially like you said, more motivated than ever, going to throw caution to the wind and try to get it done for this Spire Motors clan.
Yeah, nearly got it done in that summer race at Daytona like you were talking about. Just like your other long shot, came pretty darn close.
Yeah, man. Give me Cole Custer. Every time I watch a super speedway race this season, I regret not taking a long shot on Cole Custer. 65-1 at DraftKings. Again, a 0.4 of a unit sprinkle. So nothing too crazy. Probably won't come to the window. But, 23rd in our projections. That's probably one of the highest Cole Custer has been all season long. Been an absolutely abysmal season for him. I know I had the 300-1 long shot future championship outright. Thought maybe he could get himself into the playoffs and maybe then we could cash it out. If he would have won one of these Daytona races, he would be there, right? And also when you look at what he's done so far in his career at Talladega, 7th in average running position here in the spring, 14.6. I'll take that. Start 12th, finished P15, was running right in there in the top 20 all day long. Had a shot to win at Daytona both times, as we mentioned. Also has the 4th best super speedway average finish at the big super speedways, Talladega and Daytona, 12.7. albeit though only 3 races, so small sample size. But Cole Custer, even in this equipment that is, been on like Rick Ware racing level this season, he has been really good at Superspeedway. So I like Cole Custer, potentially mix things up. Give me a 65-1 long shot on the Colonel Custard.
Yeah, and for Custer, it wasn't just he had a shot to win. It was both Daytona races off of turn 2 on the final lap. The 41 is in control of the race. So coming literally that close, bad block in the 500, he crashes out. William Byron has the lucky horseshoe up his rear end, wins it there. Makes the move down to the low side to block Justin Haley, I believe. Ryan Blaney just gets a stronger push, wins it there. So some hard luck for the 41, and really the only bright spots, like you said. I look back to what we were thinking might happen with Haas and Cup when this went down, and it's gone just as expected, if not a little worse. They have run just like they ran before Tony Stewart ever showed up, 2008. In that, you remember the number 66 and the number 70 out there with your Jeff Greens and Johnny Sauters of the world, bringing up the field. We know Custer's a talented driver. The numbers that were thrown out there early in the year, like you said, a 300-1 on a guy who's won a Cup race on a team that at least at the time had a little bit, they had with what they had. Obviously, they were different in their last few years. They had a big time downward spike before they shut down, but they were disrespectful numbers. Of course, they had no chance of hitting, but I don't blame you for going for the cash out, and I can't blame you for going for it here.
Yeah, hey, we're going to keep swinging, baby. That's what we do here at IBT. So, Elliot, speaking of swinging and trying to get a little lucky, you're going to pull out a little hat pick for the outright market.
Yep, we got my nice little purple ally hat here, all 40 drivers in here. If I do get a driver that we have a bet on already, I will skip that and go to another. But we've got all 40 names in here.
Are you placing these wagers as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll have to get the numbers up in front of me. As I pick here, I'll pull up the Bet365 numbers because, to be honest, that's probably where I'm going to get the best number at. Yeah. Do a little bit of shuffling here, looking for NASCAR over here. Hopefully Thursday Night Football is going well for our lures. All right, we got the outright numbers up for the YellaWood 500, and a random outright pick, the number 16 of AJ Allmendinger. We were just talking about Kaulig Racing, working with a different spotter this weekend. I already don't like that. Frank Dini has been his spotter for quite a long time. He's over to the 10 the rest of this year. TJ Bell spotting for the 16. The Allmendinger number all the way at plus 6,600.
Okay.
That's pretty close to the bottom there. That's a longer number than any of the ones we've been talking about.
I'd rather place those other ones too.
Man, I just wish that Kaulig had shown even the slightest bit of what they used to have, because we used to talk about Allmendinger being involved in, hey, it's Allmendinger, Haley, and Chastain, or whoever's in that end. They're going to run the show at the end of the races. And we just haven't been able to see that on the Cup level. Allmendinger, though, like I said, working with a new spotter, I don't like. Kaulig anymore on Cup Series road courses, I don't like. 66-1, though, for a guy who we know knows how to win in the Cup Series, I can work with that for sure. I can work with that.
Yeah, you are right that there might be a little bit of EV over there at Bet365. I'm seeing it as low as 55-1 at FanDuel. So, yeah, don't hate the 6,500 call on Dinger in the pool there. Like, it could do worse, but like, I mean, at 65-1, give me Cole Custer. Yeah. Give me the other outrights we fired out on.
And those at that number, if I come back to the outrights, I know JHN was at the same number. He probably would be a better look at that. SVG even. Plus is also 66-1. Ty Dillon 66-1. Riley Herb 66-1.
Yeah,
Austin Hill 100-1 though. If I pick him up,
yeah.
these are going to be micro bets. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Trav saying nice to donate to the books. Yeah,
maybe even just 16 cents. But either way, you got to stick with what you pick. And yeah, some EV there. I definitely like that better than an SVG or a Herbst. But yeah, I agree with you on if I was picking not out of a hat, you're not going to pick Allmendinger. That's the fun of picking out of the hat.
Hey, you got us the top 10 minus 140 ticket a couple weeks ago for a few units over there at the Roval. So I appreciate AJ. I think that was the first AJ Allmendinger bet maybe I've hit all season. So I really was excited to see that. But yeah, this we ain't just like they say, we ain't in Kansas anymore. We ain't at the Roval anymore. So we are very much at Talladega, where we got a couple placement props for you. Elliot, you got a trio here, maybe even potentially a quadruple pack. So hit us with those if you would.
Yeah, let's go ahead and run with the top fives first. Joey Logano, first place to start, 2-1 on BetRivers. The other Penske car must win as well. He was before Vegas. He was after Vegas. Strategy call gave them a better finish than they would have had. Still not good enough. Still minus 24. You look at Logano at the drafting tracks. I know it's been a while since he's won one of these. NASCAR Insights tweeted this out earlier in the week. Logano has led laps in 33 of the last 35 drafting track races, dating back to the 2019 Daytona 500. And he's led in every drafting track race dating back to the 2023 Daytona 500. So he knows how to run up front. That's established. 941 laps led in that first span from 19 to now. That is almost double the next best, Blaney, with 474 in that span. Checkers or wreckers mentality for Logano, which he probably has most of these races anyway. That makes it a little dangerous to bet a top 5. Maybe the outright may be a little bit better. But this is almost kind of the opposite of the argument that I've been making of you're going to see chaos, you're going to see something crazy happen. It even goes against an argument that I'll make on a bet that I have a little later. But we don't always see those completely field-destroying crashes that we used to. Of course, last fall, Hendrick gets spun from the lead. You see the biggest big one ever. Mm-hmm. But then this past spring and even this past fall, the summer race at Daytona, everyone's going for everything. Doesn't mean that the entire field's going to get destroyed. He and the 12 car can be up there fighting for it. They don't have to crash. He can still not win the race, pick up a top 5. It'd be disappointing for him. It would work for my betting card, though.
Yeah, I just don't know how to approach Joey Logano this week, even in fantasy. Like, he's a guy I feel like I need to use because he's going to be out there scoring stage points, leading laps, like heroes log laps, and Joey Logano is a hero at super speedways. Can he get to the finish though? Because, that's why he's so low in the model this week, right? Like he's not coming in 18th because of his average running position here, right? Like had the best average running position in the spring, but he has the second to worst average finish here at Talladega in the next gen era. So can this be all streaks and all trends have to end at some time. This could be the time for Joey Logano. I just don't know if it is, man. Yeah,
and it's a race that's going to be different in a lot of ways. So one Asterisk driver I've already locked down for a top 5. Let's just do the other one too. 5-1 on BetRivers for Ryan Preece's top 5. He doesn't have super flashy stats, super flashy finishes at the super speedways, but I'm going on the eye test of what I've seen the last few times here. P2 before that DQ in the spring. And then he was in control right up there late on at Daytona in the summer, but the Hendrick cars were right behind him. They kind of had to leave him in the dust, help out their guy, and then knock Preece down to the mid-20s. He was very upset about it. He doesn't want to let that happen again. People won't talk a whole lot about RFK this week because of the whole playoff thing, but we know Brad Keselowski in that room and those drivers, they want to keep that super speedway prowess. They still expect it to be there. They want to play spoiler. None of those cars have won yet this year, and regardless playoffs or not, they want to get one of those cars to victory lane this year. Preece in the top 5 with those RFK cars up there. You keep it clean. They're going to have something to say about this race. So this number 60 car has been arguably the flashier this year and a guy who I like better combining the number and the finishes and everything else. This is the right way for me to bet RFK this week.
Yeah, I don't hate this one at all. Ryan Preece comes in 11th in the projections right now. He was really, really fast there, top 3 in average running position at Talladega the last time we were here, and also top 5 in next-gen total speed rankings at the big one as well. So, for him, it's just like Logano. He has the speed. He has the average running position. He showed it again at Daytona in the fall. Can he just get across the line? Because he hasn't been able to so far at Talladega. But I love the number. I love the number at 5-1 for a guy that we have sitting right there at 11 in the projections.
And that's the mentality. And that's why there are some betting experts that, at least in the past, they don't even put out content on Super Speedway weeks, because that's every single bet you can add on to the question, will they make it to the finish line? Will they be involved in the big one? Yep. That's part of the sweat, in my opinion. And it's part of the sweat of my top 5 hat pick that we'll pull out here. Top 5 numbers, already got them queued up on Bet365. Our top 5 number of the week, I got 2 here.
Casey Mears, baby. Casey Mears.
Casey Mears!
No, let's go!
That's
going to hit now. That's going to hit after. Let's go. Let's go.
At the bottom of the board. That we didn't plan that at all. That is also a 66-1. The only argument I can make, and I wasn't able to watch the first half of the Daytona race, but based on what they said, it was a you-know-what box that was a little less you-know-what boxy than the rest of their cars. They were able to hold it onto the draft. And this is the play where you're hoping for what we saw in the summer of 2022. The rain shower shows up, everyone but 10 cars gets destroyed, and you see that dude who makes $1 million parlaying all of the garbage cars to run top 10. You know, your Wares and your probably this 66 was probably even in that race too. That's what I need for this one. This is not the one that I wanted for the bonus top 5 pick, but that's the beauty of the game. For a top 10, I would have a much stronger argument here, but Mears running top 5, you would have to see either that level or 2017's fall race. The DVP affected this. The DVP was only 5 minutes or you were out. There were about 9 cars running at the finish of that one. That's the type of thing we'll need for this 66 car. But shout out Casey Mears. He's going to get to 600 career starts.
He will.
In NASCAR, going to run the truck race.
Yeah, love that
as well. One of those guys who had kind of been away for a while. One of those servants of the sport. So Godspeed to Carl Long, Garage 66. Go have the run of a lifetime, boys.
Yeah, let's see it, man. And hey, he wasn't last in the average position at Daytona. You know,
yeah.
he was eighth. He was eighth to last. So
that was a big wreck 20 laps in that knocked out a bunch.
Exactly. I was just about to say that's the caveat is he missed it. So hey, maybe he can zig and zag his way around a couple big ones. Hit us with a couple of your top 10s here, Elliot.
I will give the floor to you for your big ladder, but we'll start off with one of mine. Noah Gragson at plus 275 on ESPN Bet. P3 and P4 in the last 2 spring races here to add to 2 Daytona top 10s. So especially at Talladega, just got a little bit of knack for it. We know he's having some fun tonight. He's up in Cincinnati for that Thursday night football game. Feeling loose, feeling good, and that's because they've quietly had some decent runs of late. When you look at the playoff races, 14th at Darlington, 16th at Loudon, 13th at Vegas. And for how this team has run this year and the luck they've had, those are pretty good runs. For Gregson, this is the kind of kid exactly who you figure he can hang around. He can make some of those late moves to get himself forward. Even if he's not running near the front most of the day, he's the kind of guy that can sit about 20th, pick the right lines, make the right moves, miss a wreck, end up in the top 10. And it's something that would really help a season-long standings bet I have. I don't even know if he can catch Zane Smith, but I have a Gregson over Zane Smith that probably is not going to hit. Top 10, though, could go a long way.
it could go back in a long way to getting your money back from placing that one. And yeah, it's interesting here with Gragson. Like, I love that, like, despite the really poor performance this season, he has turned it on as of late. And like, he's kept the same self. He always has a smile on the face. I don't know if you saw the video of him seeing his NASCAR driver rating from the fantasy guys over there. And
71, this guy stinks. Oh, wait, is that me? He tweeted about it after the finish. He's like, hey, 13th is not bad for whatever it was, 71 overall and 67.
You love it. Yeah.
Definitely taking it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Elliot, I guess I'll go ahead then and crack open my Hendrick Motorsports top 10 ladder. This is all the way down from minus 112 to bet the longest shot straight. And then we're going all the way up to almost 14 to 1 plus 18, 1385. BetRivers, ESPN Bet, where we're getting this. And this is how I want to play this week, Elliot, because for me, HMS has come in the top 4 in the projections. The only drivers in the C range are them, 70+%. So again, everyone's still pretty close to each other this week. Like, there's not a ton of standouts. Like, oh, I have to bet this guy. But HMS is the clear favorite in my mind. They also all have the best Talladega next-gen average finishes. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, which is pretty impressive to do. All of them, but Bowman also had a top 10 average running position here in the spring. Big Superspeedway average finishes since 2024. Byron among the whole field. He is first, 8.7. Larson. Everyone wants to crap on Kyle Larson for his Superspeedway performance. He has improved mightily. While his road course performance has kind of subsided, he has been great on Superspeedways as of late since 2024. 12.1, the second best average finish there. Alex Bowman, third, 12.6. And then Chase Elliott, the furthest down. He's in 10th with a 17.9 average finish. Byron and Chase right now, they are very much below the cut line. Byron minus 15, Chase minus 23. They have to keep their cars out front. They have to collect stage points and get a good finish. That's kind of why I decided to pull off the outrights with the HMS guys here, Elliott, was because I don't know if they will give everything that they have to get a win, because they can still very much point their way in here. So the approach here is we're taking a 1-unit play on each of the Byron top 10, minus 112 at BetRivers, Elliott top 10, plus 105 at BetRivers, Kyle Larson top 10, plus 130 BetRivers. Again, those are pretty generous numbers. Most of them are minus almost 200 in some spots. Then we're also going to be doing laddering this up. So we're going from a full unit to a 0.6 of a unit. We're going Byron and Chase Elliott for a top 10 parlay at ESPN Bet, 2-1. We're going Byron and Larson for a top 10 parlay, 2-1 at ESPN Bet. And then Larson and Chase Elliott, top 10 parlay, plus 224. Byron, and then we're going to do one level up where we're going to get all three of those HMS guys in the playoffs. Byron, Elliott, Larson, top 10. That's plus 440. We're going a half unit there. And then for the big one here, we're going 0.4 of a unit on Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Alex Bowman, all to finish inside the top 10, plus 1385. This four-legger did hit back in the spring in Dega, and you're consistently, it seems like every super speedway we're going to, even at Atlanta, we're getting at least two of these guys to the window. So my hope is that it's at least two of the guys I have in the ladder with the playoff guys. So that's my approach here. We're going Hendrick Motorsports, top 10 ladder, and even my guy, Jeff Gordon, on the graphic. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I figure, Jeff Gordon's not racing anymore. You never had the chance to shout out a little Jeff Gordon bet, so I always try to throw him on with the Hendrick stuff. This is the way to bet this, because you basically need some variation of all these bets that you have. What is that? 7 or 8 different parlays and individual
And you
bets.
know me, I'm not a volume better at all.
No, not at all. Even I don't have a lot of Hendrick on the card this week. My extended card has a Bowman top 10 and the Larson outright at 20-1. Larson's been a lot better on super speedways, and they can approach it. It really depends on how the race goes. We know that they're willing to help out teammates. We saw it at Daytona in the summer. So Bowman is going to be, I'm pushing one of these guys to the win no matter what.
Exactly.
Larson can kind of be that way too. Plus, what is he? Plus 25, plus 35. Enough of a cushion that just don't get involved in that late race wreck. You'll be fine. Byron and Chase probably have to race for the win. Putting all 4 of these guys in the top 10, I mean, it does happen more often than not from your stats there. They're usually running up front there. It's just so hard for me to see all 4 of these guys running and staying in the top 10. Very easily could see chaos knock them out. Very easily could see 1 or 2 of them try to make that move at the end of the race, and everyone says, I'm not going with them Hendrick boys. You get the you-know-what out of my way, and they're going to push their other manufacturer teammates to the win. And like I said, the way to do this is that you have just about every combination here, because it's. I mean, I think you took my idea from last week of parlaying together some top 10s, and you really took it, stretched it out, made it your own. Took my little microwave pizza and turned it into this Italian gourmet meal here.
Might still be DiGiorno, but we're upgrading.
It might turn out to be burnt and taste terrible.
Yeah.
Some Frank Costanza cooking in the barracks, it might be that bad. But you might have hit on something big here. I believe some combination of this is going to hit. I have no idea which, but that's why you have just about every combination known to man here. One of them probably is going to hit. As long as they don't, I'll end up destroyed.
Yeah, that is the hope here. That is the play. So HMS, we're gonna back the betting model. That's what we do every single week. It's how I make my plays. And they're saying that if we were to run this a million times, that they have the best shot of finishing inside the top 10. So that's my play here. And go ahead, Elliot, and you have one more top 10 and then a hat top 10 before we get to the matchups and specials.
Yeah, and you would think this would be a hat pick top 10, but after this summer at Daytona, 6-1 on Cody Ware for a top 10, not a hat pick. You want to talk about bad cooking, good cooking. I feel like those Arby's steak nuggets probably on the worst side there. I can try a lot of degenerate food. I don't think I'm going to get Arby's steak nuggets. Anyway,
I think I'd try a gyro or a cheesesteak from Arby's before I'd go with the steak nuggets personally.
Nah, if you go with the classic roast beef and cheese, some curly fries, we're all good. I don't know that
roast beef and cheddar, yeah. The Arby's sauce gets me every time.
Feels like an Arby's night. It was an Arby's night at Daytona, that's for sure. 23 laps led, that is nothing to sneeze at. That's not you're taking the lead in a little pit cycle. That's not your falling rear end backwards into it. That is your running out front legitimately. 23 laps led. And in the next gen, P6 and P4 at Daytona. He's got a P12 in this race last year, so that's about the most recent comp you've got. P13 in that summer Atlanta race with that chaos there. This is almost a little bit of both. The chaos pick of he can sit in the back, make it through the wrecks that very well could happen, end up with a good finish, or just straight up throughout the I don't give a hoot mentality. I'm going to run up front. I'm going to try and get this car to victory lane as best I can, and it's something that very well could happen. We've seen underdog winners. We talked about, I made a David Reagan shout out earlier. David Reagan with Front Row Motorsports before they were Front Row Motorsports, before they grew into the Daytona 500 winning Front Row Motorsports, able to get a win with David Reagan in a P2 with Gilliland here back in 2013. You can have these underdog teams show up on their day. We see it in the Daytona 500 every year. We see it in these super speedway races. at a 6-1, riding on those steak nuggets, regardless of what they do to my stomach, and regardless of how I have to stomach it on the betting card. 6-1, let's roll with it.
I will never get over the fact that Cody Ware could have won this year's Daytona 500 if he was in the outside lane. He was in the same lane as William Byron. He was on the inside. Byron was on the outside. And also, I'll never get over the fact that I had to finish on the lead lap gainer on him, and it was looking good. Everyone involved in that last lap wreck made to the finish line. Somehow he didn't. They never scored him to finish on the lead lap, so that was a bummer. I had people DMing me like 2 months ago still about that. Hey, you ever get paid out for that to finish on the lead lap? No, I didn't. Like, what do you think? They're just going to change their mind 4 months later? But appreciate the interest either way, and also appreciate Trav going to bat for us once again. He tried the RB steak nuggets. He said they taste like soft beef jerky. Do not recommend. So I appreciate that, Trav.
Yeah, I think I will be passing on those. I hope Cody Ware is passing cars. One more hat pick for the top 10. Hopefully somebody a little better than Mears. I already got Ware out, so there's only a couple real bummer cars to pick from. Though here, I picked Cody Ware, so let's pick again. I'm having some bad luck. Jeez. I'm glad I already was dumb enough to bet him because that would not have turned out well.
It's the ally hat. Must
be. This hat's been through the ringer. 54, Ty Gibbs. That's not bad for a top 10. He's almost in the same deal as Bowman is. I mean, Hamlin already has advanced, but you're still working on making sure that Briscoe and Bell make their way in. Of course, Ty Gibbs, though, probably a little less of a team player than Alex Bowman. We just mentioned a certain Martinsville race. We mentioned, we talked about a certain New Hampshire race that happened earlier this year where he's not so much of a team player. And that could work out, though, in this bet, though. He sees the Gibbs cars running up there, the Toyotas, peels off, goes by him, gets past him, something like that. But a kid who he doesn't necessarily have super speedway prowess, but betting a Gibbs car to run top 10 anywhere, it's not that bad of a bet here. Let's pull it back up here on Bet365.
Plus 160 I'm finding on FanDuel right now, best I'm seeing. So probably BetRivers even better in Bet365, I'd imagine.
Bet365 plus 220.
Okay.
So we don't hate that. That's probably my favorite one of the three. I'll take the Gibbs car to run top 10. And Ty Gibbs, we were just talking about the I don't give a hoot attitude. 54 car certainly will have it. Yeah.
Let's go ahead, though, Elliot. Get to your next matchup here where you did find some value in the head-to-head market. I did not, super speedway, call me scared, call me what you want, but just couldn't find much value. If I were to bet a super speedway matchup, usually comes in those lower series.
Yeah, and this is the only one I found any value on at all. Brad Keselowski over Chase Elliott at plus 130. I'm also continuing my betting Keselowski for a top 10 on the ovals. Plus 110. He's up to 11 of the last 16 oval races.
Wow.
Keselowski's run top 10. You wouldn't think, but it has been something that has hit for me consistently since I picked up on that. We were just talking about RFK. They want to win at super speedways. Nobody active has won more races here than Keselowski. I know it's been a minute. Almost, he's had his chances, gotten knocked out at the end by certain or others. In terms of the matchup value, though, this is a good number when 90% of the matchups minus 115 pick'ems. I have no interest in betting those. But when you give me Keselowski at a plus 130, Chase Elliott was like at a minus 120, something like that, there's no reason to think Keselowski is that much more of an underdog than Chase Elliott. Regardless of those Hendrick numbers you just threw out, if there's one guy that can spoil that Hendrick party, Brad Keselowski's probably got to do it.
I hope not, but
they can still both run top 10.
Yeah.
I'm with that. But.
Yeah, for sure. What do you say, Elliot? Should we go ahead and get to the specials market?
Yeah, let's go ahead and crack open your special first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll go ahead. I'm going over 4.5 Chevys in the top 10, minus 110 at Caesars. This is one of my larger wagers. Actually, might be my largest wager on the card, actually, for a unit and a half. I'm going Chevy heavy here, folks. And there were 7 Chevys in the top 10 here at Talladega in the spring. Obviously, some big wrecks to some of the Fords definitely carried into that. But this ticket can obviously, I think, really make it to the window. It has in 4 straight races at Talladega. You've had over 4.5 Chevys. That means 5 Chevrolets crossing the finish line in the top 10. Also 5 out of 7 in the next gen era. So the trends are on my side, Elliot. So I'm sure it will not get to the window, but I'm going to hammer on it anyways here.
Well, this makes sense because you're already penciling in 4 of them. So you just need one more. Get the Hendrick guys and
yeah.
Who's the worst Chevy in the field? 66 doesn't run a Chevy. 51 doesn't run a Chevy. 35 doesn't run a Chevy.
Austin Hill? Austin Hill's probably
Austin
there.
Hill, probably Austin Hill, or maybe Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
In the field.
Yeah.
So have them tag along and get it to the pay window there. Any number of Chevys that can work that out. I don't hate it. I had some good luck on these sort of manufacturer runs a couple weeks ago. This is a tough one, though, at the juice. But like you said, if you're going to pencil in the
minus
Hendrick
110, that's barely any juice. Look espresso shot of juice. Come on.
That's my old mentality of anything minus money. I don't want to bet it. I've drank some heavy juice this year. I just don't know about this one. All right, so I got a couple specials as well. Winning number under 12.5, spinning that roulette wheel, plus 125 via Caesars. This gives me some favorites / contenders. The 2 of Cindric, the 5 of Larson, 6 of Keselowski, the 9 of Chase Elliott, 11 of Denny Hamlin, who he'd love nothing more to, I don't care about the rest of you in this round of 8. Let's take away another win and get it there. And the 12 of Blaney, they're all contenders. Plus the 1 of Chastain, 3 of Austin Dillon, 4 Noah Gragson, 7 Justin Haley, the 8 of Kyle Busch, and the 10 of Ty Dillon. And you can't tell me that they don't have a chance to win either.
I don't hate this at all. Actually, this I would like a little bit, higher in the plus money, but you have guys like Cindric and Blaney who can dominate these races. You have drivers like Larson and Chase who've had the finishes as of lately. You've already bet on Brad, you've bet on Haley, so they're guys we've talked about tonight. So yeah, I like that a lot.
And then one more special, the race to go to overtime. This one was shouted out in the Discord as well. 2-1 via Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 next gen Dega races have gone to overtime. This is where the added chaos of this being in the round of 8. They're probably going to be running up front late. There's going to be a lot of desperation. Blaney needs this win. Elliott needs this win. Byron needs this win. Logano needs this win. The guys above the cut line still need this win to not have to worry about anything at Martinsville and the chaos that has shown basically ever since it's been that penultimate race of the season. If that happens, like I said, I'm willing to bet it's at the front. I'm willing to bet that it's late enough that it takes out enough cars to push for that overtime. Could see, big enough crash, red flag to keep it within the scope of the scheduled distance. But I'm going to bet on it being late enough that we will have to push for overtime. At 2-1, one of those where it's a slam dunk for me this week.
Yeah, shout out Trav. I think this was Trav or Tony, or maybe even was Wolf as well. I can't remember who exactly shouted this one out, but I do like the number here. It feels like a great number, and that's the handicap here, right? Because you can't look back at the trends, and that's why I couldn't come on board, is because the trends were not pointing us in that direction. But the vibes, they are.
Gotta love the vibes. And gotta love the Cup card. Appreciate everyone sticking with us for a bit of an extended show tonight. Still got some lower series bets too, with a squad ride on the number 88 down in Xfinity.
Yeah, I mean, Elliot, you said this best, I think, before we went live, but Connor Zilic, he just can't be stopped. And this has literally happened in the last 18 races, right? So I was thinking kind of the same exact thing as you were. I was looking at Zilic, and while he hasn't been like an absolute clinic at Superspeedways so far this season, he did finish 6th in stage 2, led 9 laps in the spring Talladega race, also has a top 5 at Atlanta. We know Parker Kligerman got him that win at Atlanta as well. Or Daytona, excuse me. So only thing left for him to do is tame Talladega, the beast that it is. And I think Connor Zilic keeps it going here. So yeah, it's top 5 for me, plus 110 at ESPN Bet. I'm going about a unit and a quarter here.
And you said it. That literally was my only note on this. Thankfully, I got the little bit of a higher number there at the plus 125. My only note literally has happened in the last 18 races. That's every track type. That's every sort of situation. That's including a boatload of wins in there. That's including him stepping out of the car and Parker Kligerman getting a win here. 18 races in a row, unheard of. I don't think it stops the rest of the year. It's a wonder why I haven't bet this in the last 10 races, literally, because it's just been one of those trends. It's been a pretty juice number, though, too.
Yeah.
Even plus 110, I like it. Plus 125, I like it more.
Yeah. I'll also take a top 10 on Jebediah Burton, minus 110 at ESPN Bet. Again, 1.2 units down for me. 4 straight top 10s for Jeb Burton at Talladega, a 4.8 average finish in that span. You back that up. He has 7 out of 10 of his Xfinity Dega starts have resulted in top 10 finishes, an 8.5 average finishing position. So give me a little Jebediah Burton to bring it home.
I have the same bet too. Maybe sort of kind of even worth considering an outright, but that's tough for a Jordan Anderson.
Thought about that too, yeah.
As much as I love Jordan Anderson racing and my Austin Green on the road courses and everything, I do also have a Jordan Anderson top 10. Again, a sneaky super speedway guy. Jeb Burton, pretty much a slam dunk. I'm going for a little bit more of a long shot, though. Again, thankful for the top 10 market. Doubling down on Leland Honeyman, plus 250 via ESPN. In his career at Talladega, 4th, 14th, and 13th. So in terms of finishes, his best super speedway. You go back to that summer Daytona race. Of course, the big story for most people, Kligerman's leading. The big story for me, Leland Honeyman's on the second row, and I have a top 10. This son of a gun might have a challenge here, might have a chance. Makes one of the more boneheaded super speedway moves I've ever seen. He's on the second row. Austin Hill's right in front of him. Before we even get to turn 1, pulls out a line to try and pass the 21, sinks him and the 21 like complete bricks. 70 car ends up crashed. Thankfully, it took away Austin Hill's shot. I didn't have any money on him. And, we know what the general consensus of the fandom is on Austin Hill.
Boo.
Didn't work out for Leland Honeyman, though. I'm hoping he's learned from that. He's got Wawa sponsorship on the number 70, so to look better than that blank car that he runs some weeks. But that's the beautiful thing, especially about Talladega, whether it's your Young's Motorsports or your Alpha Prime or your Cope Family Racing or any of these. Generally, you're going to have them in a position to run top 10 late. I just hope he doesn't blow it like he did a couple of months ago.
Let's go, Leland. We need you, buddy. We need you, Leland. We need you. I remember the first time ever last spring, we got top 10 Xfinity odds for just a one-off, and I had Haley Deegan, and I think it was Riley Herbst did the same thing to her where just pulled out right away, and she sunk, and I think it was a 7-1 top 10 I had on her. So it was a tough scene out there, so hopefully better results for you and the Honeyman this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully he's been in the sim, maybe even playing some NASCAR 25 and learning how to race on a super speedway if you're in that position late. A guy who knows how to do that as we dip down to the truck series now. Parker Kligerman, 16-1 outright on Bet365. He's a 2-time winner at Daytona this year, but he's also a 0-time winner at Daytona. He's driving the same truck as February's debacle, where they win the race. The part-time team doesn't know the protocol for post-race inspection. Therefore, it's an automatic fail when they did something they were not supposed to do. And then, of course, subbing in for Zilic in a great car, able to get the win there. I have faith this guy can do it again. He's in one of those spots. He put up a big sappy post where he says, I'm glad to have worked with these guys. I love going super speedway racing. Talladega has been good to him in the past. Super speedways have. He doesn't have a scheduled race after this. There was rumors maybe he would take JRM for half a year. That's not true as far as he's come out and said. He's one of those guys that one little last blaze of glory, regardless of what happens to him next. Something he's looking for, something that in this truck race, which will definitely have chaos with how close that playoff field is.
Yeah.
75 doesn't care about playoffs. He cares about getting the checkered flag.
Yeah, man. I was on Parker a couple weeks ago. I can't remember. Was that the truck series? I think it was the truck series. I was on him.
It was the truck series at the Roval.
Yeah.
Right? You had the outright. I had a top 5
He was running good, and then he had some issues there. So, yeah.
He was up into the top 6, and then something in the back of the truck broke. Had to go to the ground.
Yeah, so I like Parker here a lot. I'll go ahead and give you my truck series bet here. It's winning car number under 34.5. I have 24.5 on the graphic. It's actually 34.5. Sorry, that's my bad there. Minus 125 at Caesars, down for a unit and a half here. All top 5 drivers in average running position last year at Talladega in the truck series. Again, we don't go to Talladega in the spring for this series. Enfinger, Eckes, Lawless Allen in the 33, Heim, and Garcia. So all under that number. They all have that in common. And also with this bet this year, you're getting Lane Riggs, JJ Yaley in that Spire truck. You're getting Gio Ruggiero, who has been honestly very impressive as of late, especially at some super speedways earlier this season. You get Tyler Ankrum, you get Daniel Henry, get Taylor Gray, get Dawson Sutton, and you get our guy Frankie Muniz as well. Shout out to our boy Frankie. Drivers to win super speedways this year were also under this number. Rowdy in the 7, Heim in the 11. Only people that I really think could screw this bet up for us, you named one of them, Parker Kligerman, Corey LaJoie. I think he's live to win. Maybe Rhodes, maybe Ben Rhodes can get it going. Ty Majeski, Raja, Honeycutt, Chandler. Those are your list. I feel like I have 13 guys against 7 here. And I also have some small sprinkles on the Heim outright 7-1. I think that's a very generous number for Corey Heim, and even Gio as well, 20-1. So this is kind of a way of just getting a little more exposure to the group of drivers I really like this week, Elliot.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, though, like you said, a couple guys that could logically end up screwing over this bet. But in the truck series, especially at Talladega, we've seen our fair share of complete out-of-nowhere winners. Tate Fogelman and Spencer Boyd come to mind as drivers who have won this Talladega race. And that was when it had nothing to do with literally the second to last race before the championship, where the 7 drivers fighting for it are all within about 10 points of each other. with my betting card, with the bets I have here and the bets that I have otherwise, I haven't factored in that chaos factor enough. So probably when I go to bet these hat picks, I probably am going to throw out some absolutely ridiculous ones. I was checking back at Caesars. I forget if it was Spring Talladega, I think it was, where they had a group bet that was Tony Breitinger and the 3 most garbage trucks in the field.
Yeah.
It was a fun group to bet, even though Breitinger couldn't beat
Mm-hmm.
one of the, I think it was one of the Rearview trucks finished ahead. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Definitely some nutty bets I should make here. These ones a little less nutty, though. I'll give you the logic first. You mentioned LaJoie, him for a top 5 at plus 150. I'm hoping he still remembers how to super speedway race.
Mm-hmm.
He was somebody I didn't really think about early in the week, but again, brought up in the Discord. Shout out everyone in there. A guy who, it could be his last blaze of glory. We were talking about it with Kligerman. LaJoie, a guy who sounds very ready to kind of hang it up. If he's not going to get a full-time cup ride, he's going to take his helmet and gloves and go home. So he would like to do that with a checkered flag in his hands, you would think. On the cup side, 4 top 5, 9 top 10 finishes on super speedways. Couple of shots to win. I remember a particular Atlanta race. I don't remember what year, but last lap, he's going for the win, smacks the wall. Might have been
20 or 21, I think that was. I think that was 21, maybe.
Maybe. I'm talking Atlanta, though, so that would have been like 22.
Oh, reconfig, yeah. 22, maybe. I think it might have been a 22 race, yeah.
But either way, the Cat should remember how to super speedway race. Hopefully they can make some coin here. And to round us out, this one's probably just as dumb as my BJ McLeod bet that I had in the Charlotte race when he was in a Spire truck. Give me some Christopher Beltram Hernandez Yaley on the card, JJ, at 3-1 at Bet365. Glad to see the old dog get some good equipment. Normally out there running Joey Gase Motorsports equipment or that NY racing car that they just have no chance. This might be Yaley's best shot to do well in a race dating back to the Joe Gibbs days when he was in that number 18 car. I think his best finish there, ran P2 at the Coke 600 that Casey Mears won on fuel mileage. Had a couple of highlights there. Of course, a guy named Kyle Busch came into that seat, knocked him out. But he's a guy who I wouldn't have thought he'd still be around in 2025. One of those old dogs that hopefully can teach some new tricks. Getting in a good truck, seeing what he can do with it. Top 5, 3-1.
I'm intrigued by JJ Yaley. I actually, for the betting projections each week, I also do like an Xfinity and a Truck Series bonus. And I always look back at JJ's. I'm like, man, he has just had such a rough stretch in every series for the last 10 or so years. So really happy for him. Can't wait to see him out there in some good equipment. I'm intrigued, but I'm not putting my money on it.
No, and this is one where I wish we had truck top 10s. I would bet me and others, I swear you would see record numbers on a Corey Heim minus 750 top 10 at most tracks. People would bet it. I would bet a Yaley little like even money top 10. It'd be fun. Maybe something the books can look at in the future.
Yeah. Geo top 10. That was something I would love this week. Yeah. So it's definitely out there. Look, we never thought we'd have almost weekly. There are a couple weeks we didn't have Xfinity top 10s, but for the most part, they've been pretty weekly over there at Bet365 and ESPN Bet as well. So let's keep talking about NASCAR. Let's keep chatting about NASCAR. Let's keep, pushing it on socials, keep pushing it in the Discord community and, see what we can do. It's becoming a more and more stable focus, I think, for these books, or at least they just bring it up in my algorithm more and more every single week. So appreciate everyone out there who continues to make this sport and the betting aspect of it more and more popular each and every year.
The only thing we need back is the Cup top 20s at the Super Speedway.
Oh, yes.
I would say if I could get that Casey Mears for a top 20, I'd have brought that up on the show. It wouldn't have had to be picked. But so it's been an exciting one tonight. Thanks to everyone for sticking with us. Seth, lots of exciting things always going on in Between Media.
Oh, man, we've been so busy, dude. It's spooky season. Got a ton of Halloween content on the YouTube channel, also over there on the website for the entertainment department. NFL, we've been hitting it out of the park, whether that's betting, whether that's fantasy football, we got you there. College football, we got you there as well. PGA, a little bit of a hiatus right now, but that should be back in full swing, no pun intended, in the new year as well. And, of course, Elliot, you and Rod, each and every single week that I'm not on the program, holding it down. You every week. You haven't had a break in quite some time, so I know you're probably looking forward to stretching your legs a little bit in the off season, but we'll still have weekly episodes, whether we're live with you here Thursday night on the IUT Media YouTube channel, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, or we debut a new episode. You can still expect those each and every week.
Hey, man, there's nothing I'd rather do than sit here and talk NASCAR. Shout out to everyone riding along in all the different ways you can watch us. Links to all the fun in the episode description.
Yep.
Give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Best of luck with your bets this week. Hopefully your cards don't look too spooky and they can make you some cash to go get some Halloween candy. Thanks for rolling on down the back road with us. We'll see you next time.